Uh, this thing is live, yeah? We are live. Why do I hear this so incredibly quiet? What is going on with this? I think I am going deaf probably or something like that. I don't know how to explain it. It it has no sound for me, so I can't explain why it feels like that. Anyways, besides that, I guess what do I want to do? What was I intending to do today? I think okay. I have to close this. I have to try and open this stuff. I have to also try to get some. I can close this. Okay, this one I can close. I can set up. Oh, this is going to be crazy, yeah. Oh yeah, this is incredibly crazy. I have to change almost everything. Oh man. Hey, hello Panzo, welcome. Good good morning. Also, why did I see? Ah, okay. I have some lag. This is amazing. This is quality content. I guess. So we are on this scene. I can suppress. Yeah, I want to remove that. Properties. Let me. Okay, this. It should be. I need to have it at 175. Okay, there it is. Let's see. I resize this so much that it looks incredibly. Uh, what? This is the complete page? What? What is. What's up with this? What? This isn't the complete page. I am pretty sure. What is. What is going on here? What? 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 Wait. What is going on here? Ah, I have Zoom. No, wait. What? I don't have Zoom. What's. What? What? What is going on, my man? Why does it. What happened now? Why was there an update on the PDF reader from my browser? Why does it look so different? What the fuck? I think that is kind of a problem. I mean, I literally needed some of that space to put things. Let me. Okay, I am literally in shock. What the fuck I am trying to do right now? Um, okay, page. Which page are we in? One. Okay, 137. Did I really read the whole book like this? So big? What's up with this? Why did I do that? I don't know. Anyways, I guess I did read the book so big. I, I don't even know what to say. I don't remember doing it like that. But, anyways, if it fits, it fits, and that is more than enough for me. So, yeah, let me. I think I can craft this. I can also craft this from here. Yeah. The only also I don't know what is going on. If it is that I am not talking loudly enough or what, but my voice isn't peaking like it should be. And I saw that also yesterday, and I was a little bit worried because after all, I wanted to have some sound, But I think I am. Yeah, I don't have the proper reason as to why it is happening on the first place, so I can't exactly tell which which thing it is to blame in this occasion um, when it comes to my voice not being so loud. But but yeah, basically that I don't know. It isn't as loud as it should be. And that is making me kind of nervous. I think not that I think I feel it. I fully feel it. So delete this. Now I can also rotate this one thing to normality. Okay, delete this. Now I am back to my place. Amazing. And with that, I have just adjusted the same. What is it? The same scene that I completely changed when we were streaming yesterday. Amazing. Yes. Also, oh wait, I have the I have the warnings because the ads and all of that. I kind of forgot about that one. I guess I don't really pause when I see them in personally, so I might not act in any particular way when it comes to that. So let me let me. Besides this, try. How much time did it take me? Like 5 minutes, right? Yeah, quite some time to make this scene look properly made, I guess. Uh, so, next action is what I'm trying to do. Okay, I I kind of okay. I I might have overestimated how much time I really have. I guess maybe probably, but that is not my fault. Even if it is, that is not my fault. I am not going to take responsibility for something of that sort. And I don't know. I think uh, going back to it because I feel like I can very much notice. I think if I were to speak a little bit louder, it wouldn't be so much of a problem. But I feel like I am somehow back almost whispering like I used to in some points. At some point, I don't even know why exactly because I don't really have an excuse as to why I am whispering. I guess it is the getting accustomed to not speaking. Sometimes, it becomes almost a very normal occurrence, at the very least for me, to not really speak that much. So, yeah, it is weird, I guess, in these cases, to notice such events. But I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a reason as to why it is. Brother. Yeah, bitrate is dying. I don't know what's. Do I have something open? Yeah, yeah. Fuck, I saw it. This is amazing. I just saw that I have like three different processes which I completely could um, close, but this is going to be a pain to do. Nice, 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 nice. At the very least, we didn't lose frames, so that is nice. But that is really nice. But this is going to be a painful thing for me to do. This is going to be hard, and I don't know if I am going to finish closing everything up before I before we reach the 10 minute mark. I over overlay. What the fuck? Uh, yeah, my whole piece is almost crashing, not completely, but almost reaching its end point with this stuff. Um, do you wanna close yourself, my brother? Do you wanna let me close you? I don't. There it is. I think I killed the app. Yeah, there it is. Nice. Finally, we are done with this thing. Anyways, besides that, also I didn't notice that in reality, with OBS open, my whole PC is already at 97% CPU. Um, Good, I guess. I don't know. This is a thing, I guess. And also, I mean, not only I have my PC at 90, my CPU at 90, 97 exactly. I have also my disk at 100 and my memory at 82. I guess we are we are nearing the crashing point, man. Oh my god. Yeah, I should stop looking at that, I guess. But yeah, we even lost some frames. This is so bad. No. Anyways, we already overdid a whole minute. So, anyways, hello people. It has been quite a long time since the last occasion that we were here. So, hello everyone. Um, we are done somehow. We are. We are. Yeah, we are here. That's the first thing that we can say with certainty. That we are beautifully here. So that is more than enough and more than sufficiently um, good, I will say, for us. At the very least today, I feel like I don't see almost any other thing to point at which will be as amazing as us being here. I I can confidently argue in this fine day in which we get ready to try and quote unquote attack what is the Mahabharata itself. So we're going to see what we can find there later on. As always, we are going to first start with a very short session of talking. Today probably it won't be as long as the other ones. I am feeling like we might go over three if it is really really something that I can push myself for. Maybe four, but I don't ensure that we're going to go for the 4 whole hours. I feel like actually. So we will see how that goes exactly today. But yeah. Here we are. Anyways, the most important thing, something that I kind of forgot. Sorry. As always, welcome everyone. Welcome viewers, both watchers, lurkers, every single one. In particular today, welcome Pansu. I think I said it earlier today, or not today, when we started the stream. Um, but just in case, welcome. And well, here we are. After dealing with everything that I had to, as in closing processes and getting the scenes ready and all of that, we we are in for just another session of radical thinking, I will say. I okay. I think, as always, we will have to see how it goes with the Mahabharata after the last two particular times in which we read. It was rather weird to find out how much inane text there was, which obviously served no purpose at all. For the sake of our take when it comes to reading it, no? That is to try and find which different messages can be extracted from that directly into some, I wouldn't say lesson, but some type of knowledge or useful guidance towards the life, or at the very least, the direction that something like the Hinduistic beliefs might point you towards, let's say. So it ends up being um, obviously challenging to try and take out whatever we have to when it comes to hidden ideas and similar concepts. But besides that, I don't think there is anything else of untold value or impossible to observe strength and such. We we are here and we always do whatever is the best in terms of trying to extract the actual message. So I don't think if there is something good, we are going to miss it, and that is always, I think, very soothing. I will say, or I feel like at the very least. So yeah, that is obviously the first thing. But besides that, as always, we get to have some. I don't know if it is really something that we can call quality time or how exactly to try and call it. It is rather just a section of purely chatting and such. I don't exactly know which type of description to utilize in these situations. So yeah, besides that, here we are. That's the most important thing once again. That we find ourselves here back after well, for me it is less than or a little bit more, I think, than 24 hours since the last stream. So certainly we're going to get into something completely different from what's happened last time. That just in case it was the collab that we had with Joel, so that was certainly something interesting to do and to not simply perform, but to experience and all of that. It always is a pleasure to go through the amusement that is to roleplay and the enjoyment that is to get to play a character in a universe that somebody else is building up instead of having oneself to be the constructor of all of those things. So, on that hand, we are doing fine and we are obviously also finding ourselves interested in all of that. So yeah, it is going good. I feel like, and it is very much an interesting take what we ended up having, and also an interesting development on all of that story. But besides that, I guess to continue or to create a sense of um, uniqueness in what is this actual stream, we can start with something that I had been thinking as always. And in this time, after quite a weird day in terms of duration and things that I also did, certainly, particularly for a Saturday, I wasn't expecting it to be so weird on my end. And it was, after all, very nice. It is always good to try and take some time to analyze which things mm, are we doing and which things are we not really putting all of our attentions into, but not simply saying it as something that is minimally beneficial, but rather as something that holds the capacity of revealing to us in which layers on in which um, zones of this whole process, let's say, we are kind of failing. So it is good, certainly, to be um, in the continuous paths of self actualization that exist in life, I guess, or that one can decide to take in life. But it is also consistently weird, I feel, when you have always to deal with the consequence of what was your own actions in terms of things that you might have wanted to perform differently. Because pretty much I can personally say and accept also, not simply mention it as something rather anecdote and yeah, anecdotal, that's the word, but rather as something that really happens, and that is, um, I wasn't expecting if I had to be real, to ever become so aware of all the different things that affect my own existence in a sense of there, there, there is a point in which you learn so many different situations that do affect you and so many different things that you should always try to look out for or different you sometimes even improvements that you can have in your life that will obviously get you to find those moments of happiness and those later on um, solid creations of what ends up becoming an established point of return that you have in your life, as in if it doesn't completely make sense, you can also see it as those things in which you can always relay, or those things that you have not simply made but rather you have yeah, you have always the capacity to overcome different challenges. And when you also not only overcome those challenges, but even take upon the adventure of creating something beneficial for you and something obviously even more in the side of not just beneficial, but deeply capable of providing you with help whenever you need it, as in, I think the best or one of the easiest things is in these occasions to see the body as one of the best tools that you can have in order, no? And it is good to see it like that. But at the same time, there are so many different things that can alter your whole life in so many incredibly influential ways that, at the very least, that is what I was saying. Personally, I feel like sometimes there is an overwhelming amount of changes that one might try to perform for the sake of keeping yourself, let's say, I don't know if clean or at the very least mm, capable of stating that now you hold in your hands what is mainly the benefit of the more than entertaining realities or tools, yeah, let's simply call them tools that will aid you towards the continuous existence of yours. So it is weird sometimes to feel almost overwhelmed by the amount of good things that you can have. But I don't know. Um, I think at the very least, it is better to be, if you had to choose to be overwhelmed with something, I feel like it is incredibly better to be overwhelmed in these occasions with the, yeah, those things which will help you are always better than those things which will negate you the capacity or the amount of different, incredibly mm, astounding mm, negative things that might happen to you, even if you don't realize or don't even feel like all of those, all of those reasons, let's say, or all of those different sets will be influential for you. So, yeah, yeah. In that sense, that is, as I was trying to say, it, it it has different ways to give you the capacity of feeling good. But the problem is when we have so many work or so many sites in which we might want to spend our time in, it becomes overwhelming, I feel. And although it's by itself is positive because you observe simply how many good things you already have sometimes and how much more you can even add to your whole display or to your whole set of pre-existing tools and pre-existing mechanisms towards living a better life and such. So it does feel nice on that end, but at the same time it is incredibly weird to try and become aware or to keep expanding on your awareness of different necessary tools or potentially beneficial tools which might help you towards what I said before, getting to be in a place of enjoyment and such. And I don't know. In this case, the idea was I was simply observing that and I was feeling these things because certainly I had been, I think these past few days, I don't really know how much time I had been spending on this. Sadly, um, I am back now into a very compressed state of time itself, so I can't really tell from my perspective how much time I have spent on these lessons and such. I I guess I have lost a little bit once again track of time, sadly. I I think the amount of the amount of experiences and the amount of things that occupy the mind had become once again at least on a personal level not overwhelming to the degree to which I can't think, but rather overwhelming enough to the degree to which I can't find myself having completely dead time once again. So it is weird, and it is interesting to see that what has been the last month feels like just a week or even less in terms of time. So yeah, that is one thing, obviously, but in the point of learning about these different tools and progressing even further towards the realizations and the different lessons that can be mm, obtained through the pursuit of knowledge has been pretty much always interesting. And what I mentioned before of learning how many different ways you have to interact with information itself, and how much you can also even see that all of this information isn't only something good for you, but also even more capable of changing the different actions that you take throughout the day. All of these things play a huge role on what is, in this case, the usage of personal time in in the in the case of me, my potato self, no? So it does feel a little bit weird, and it does feel a little bit certainly distant from me to realize that sometimes I am not really that much into the present as I would need to be, I guess, something like that. But it is still a wonderful experience. I mean, this is but just another ramification of this same type or path of ideas, and it does feel rather appealing even to be here. After all, I wish I had the capacity to lie and say that no, this hasn't been worth it. I, I have never perceived all of this as not sufficient enough. I think, sadly, quote unquote, sadly, I am not someone who will leave this place having said that this was the worst experience they had, or that this was the most meaningless time of my life, or something like that. This has been so far not completely the opposites. Obviously, there is always some value that has been not properly created, or some actions that we can always do better. I think it is true that if you stop and analyze which things you are doing right and which things you are having problems with, you will end up arriving at the conclusion that you can always improve it in some way. No? So to say that everything has been completely as I have planned would be a lie in that sense. And that I guess we are not even close to reaching perfection in anything of these sort of creations and such. But still, it doesn't really mean, because that is also something different, that we are not satisfied, or that at the very least, personally, I am not satisfied. On the complete opposite end, I am even more happy now that I have been consistently being capable of making all of this and ensuring that all of this keeps happening, and utilizing our time towards the consistent, as I said, before, the consistent creation of these sort of things and such, that it is good and it is sufficiently enough beneficial for everyone here, and it is in a yeah in a metaphorical way. If I had the possibility, I would so far up to this point live exactly the same life that I did. If it is that I have to arrive to the same place or to a very similar one, I don't think I would try to change anything. After all, I have been learning. There is this one notion that, for example, I am still trying to deal with, and that is, if you were to be in the shoes of somebody else and you have to go through life as they are doing, or with the different situations that they did, we will probably arrive at the exact same point in time than them, because there is nothing that they did that was completely not in the best of their interest. So I had been trying to deal with that one notion so far, and not that with no avail, but rather certainly with no whole capacity of comprehending this. I rephrase it here simply as another thing that happens, and just another um, added concept, I feel like, which also plays a, a part on all of this. Well, I don't know. Um, it has been pretty much funny, I will say, and pretty much, as always, no? Um, beneficial to be here. So yeah, let me. I feel like I need some water, so let me first and foremost do that, and after that, we will try to change topic. I feel like. Kind of a weird thing to notice that after a whole day, the water is still cold because it is cold in my um, city place. I don't know. I think it is even in my room. It is incredibly cold. So that is why also even my water is cold, man. But anyways, going back into this, I guess I don't know. I don't know. Um, Besides that, what I mentioned before, I have been also pondering. I have been also trying to spend some time thinking and properly placing it. I think this time in a mental space. What is the notion of why we have been so far doing different things that we have been doing here and such? After all, this concept of you can always do whatever you want because you want to fully dictate what does and doesn't happen here is pretty much a strong, not simply a stance, but rather a strong outlook on all of these situations that do take place in our lives. And it is pretty amazing to see that, as always, we keep doing what feels interesting and what is, um, to a certain extent, no, the best for us. In the sense of there are always some things that we could have done better, but overall, I feel like once again, as I said before, no real change would be necessary for us to keep having the same amount of happiness or a very similar one. Let's try to argue that we can't have the exact same level of happiness, a very similar one. So it is good to see that after so much time we have reached a point of not stagnation, but rather a point of um, consolidated felicity or something like that, in which we can now say that all of the things that we are doing are worth it to their own extent, and that maybe, although in some occasions what we are doing or the way in which we are doing it might not be the complete best, the whole sum of all of those parts makes this whole creation sufficiently good so that we can say that this, once again, adding it all up is sufficiently good enough. And that is, I think, um, I haven't really felt like it was like that before, but I guess if you would have to say it to somebody else, it will almost feel like a praise, no? I feel like. So I guess it has somehow become something like that, even for us. And, well, I mean, it is sufficiently good to be doing well, but it is even better to know that we are doing well. And it is even better to know that we are going to keep consistently doing good or better. Um, because I feel I don't like to compare myself. After all, I have always had an incredibly hard time when it comes to dealing with the views of somebody else and with properly um, putting myself in the shoes of another human. But I think that to get to have the pleasure of knowing that every single thing that you do has its own value, and to get to know that what you are spending your time on is worthy enough in, as always, no, in and of itself, would be a very big blessing to have, even if I was somebody kind of mundane, let's say. So I feel like in this case, what we have reached to, or where we are standing right now, is once again good enough. And I don't have any reason to state the opposite or to argue something not along those lines. I almost feel like, after all, we are not that we deserve it. There is nothing that we deserve, I think, in the sense of we have earned it, but rather it is logical to see that by putting all of the efforts that we have put by making this, now reaching such a pleasurable place or reaching such a pleasurable spot is more than justified. Let's say like that. So yeah, satisfaction has been ensured. Let's argue. I feel like that is the best way to say it. Satisfaction has been ensured so far, and I mean, I don't know. Besides all of that, I guess some other notions always take some place and take some other avenues of this. After all, I mean, I'm not somebody who talks that much. I used to say, and I always try to remind it to everybody, because I didn't think I was going to survive, or my not completely myself, rather my throat was going to survive talking for so many time, yeah, for such a long time, almost uninterruptedly, and yet here we are after. I think it has been now almost 400 hours of streaming. I think so. Yeah, it is incredibly amazing to see that we are here, and we are not simply enjoying the present moment. We are capable of saying that everything that happened was good enough. And I mean, I don't simply say it as a way to show praise to ourselves, but rather to reaffirm that everything that we went through was nice and was on its own way or in its own type of measure good enough to reach such a point in the actual present moment. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it feels okay, let's say like this. Sometimes you can pretty much see why what you are doing is good, while others it feels like almost a random occurrence to have the opportunity of obtaining the happiness that you have. And in this case, I feel like we fall onto the first category mostly, because things, when we properly analyze them, make sense. And when we give ourselves the chance of understanding what is going on, we also gain the capacity of taking pride, I guess. I don't mean it. Okay, let's say like this. I think there is different types of pride. Not that I think there is a good pride and a bad pride, but rather if you have too much pride, that is when it will commonly become bad pride, let's say. So the pride of believing that what we did is good enough, that is the pride that lets us keep moving forward. Because after all, once again, it isn't that we we didn't do anything or we are not in a good place right now. Rather, out of the different events that led up to this particular stream, let's say, to exist, had been there, and now we had to share what is such a nice moment because after all, that is also almost always the goal that we pursue over here. No? To have the pleasure of gaining the upper hand, let's say, or obtaining that more than sufficiently good um, empowering experience. So yeah, here we are. And as always, I think if it isn't obvious enough at this point, we are going to keep trying to create and to ensure such moments for the future. After all, it will be almost negatively sad to see that we don't get to make sure that all of these things will keep happening throughout time and will keep occurring when we gain the chance and when we finally obtain the possibility of, in these cases, no, um, empowering and almost, I feel like sometimes what we do the most is force ourselves to a place of better value and such. Because after all, a lot of different lessons that we take here and a lot of different things that we observe here deal mostly with the initial notion itself of the different, more than valuable experiences that you consciously have to pursue. So it is now that we get to say that where we are and what we are doing is once again sufficiently good, and there is nothing better than to know and even more to be completely conscious about that these things have been justified so. And I feel like after so long, there is nothing better than the certainty of something of this degree of variability. Because after all, you can always see how life might take a the so-called random turn in the next in the next curve. So you never know what might have gone wrong at this point. Yet, even if that is a possibility, so far in the present moment, we are more than sufficiently enough good, and that is the whole justification that I need. Nothing else is really necessary, at the very least for me right now. I think so. And that is what I was trying to talk about before, in that sense of this is this is this is a pleasure. This is certainly a pleasure. And well, I don't know. Um, I I had been besides that, I had been also thinking a little bit about, and a lot of different lessons and a lot of different um, useful facts, I believe. And I don't really know why we are sometimes so incapable of taking taking the possibility or taking the pleasure of doing the things that we want to do the most, or obtaining those rewards that we talk so much as truly beneficial for us. And I had been in that same wavelength of ideas, believing that sometimes we are not really pursuing something that properly let us arrive to those places, but rather through, un- I feel like, unconscious decisions of realms that have no real correlation to your so desired goals and such. We just get to be in places in which, once again, these things that we wanted to have in our hands are not at all capable of being obtained. And I, I had been trying also to um, get to understand how to not see it as just the best justification as to why the things that we possess are all that we can possess, and that if we, let's say, desire for more in the present moment, we are in a wrong position. Because I think, yeah, let me explain myself. I think that it has become a rather weird obsession of us, as in, not particularly, I believe that I am not talking about you or me or somebody that we exactly know, but rather as society itself. It has become a pretty well known or very good seen uh, habit to feel bad because we don't possess exactly um, everything that we wanted, or because we didn't get to have that one prize that we worked so hard for, although we in reality didn't put all of our time towards obtaining such things. So it is weird sometimes to see that there is people out there who really complain for things that they, not that they didn't really put effort into obtaining, but rather they just did was, yeah, what was best for their own selfish secondary objectives rather than the insurance or the complete reality of obtaining those things which they wanted the most. And I don't know. I never I never get to fully get why it will be necessary to not see it as something so good, um, to accept that after all the responsibility of our own self always remains in our hands. But I mean, I think I can try to argue myself into something of that sort. At the same time, I can pretty much see and get always why, from the, yeah, being who we are and such, and standing on the place in which we are standing, it will be minimally beneficial to not be so judgmental towards others. I think so, that will be a possible way. As in, probably if you're telling others that what they have might be better, you are just um, loading off your responsibility, or you are removing from them the capacity of counteract, yeah, counteracting such a proposition by showing you their proofs as to why they would be capable of obtaining more, yet they are not, and such things. I don't know. I don't know. I think the problem is, I believe more that we have become too lenient on those who simply cry when they take the first step and fail at the actions that they wanted to do, rather than to accept to help those who have really tried their best and fail. And I mean, not simply that we don't play such a sufficient role when it comes societally to those things, but rather that we even have a notion that some people are not even capable of articulating themselves, or not a notion. I think more so that it simply happens to be like that. That those people who are really deep into matters are not even capable of saying, I need a hand. I am really requesting your aid, or even sometimes not even your particular aid, just the aid of someone, whoever it is that can give me something to keep working with, will suffice my necessities, and by doing so, I will keep going. But I can't, by myself, let's say, be capable of saying that to anyone, because by itself already, it is already consuming too much of my own life, let's say, to do what I what I need help with from others. So to learn to recognize those situations rather than to pay attention to those who I think this one metaphor always plays an efficient role at showing this, who cry the hardest, or those who uh, shout the loudest, instead of those who are a minority of people, or in this case those who are literally almost just starting, who might be more than sufficiently enough capable of rising up from their ashes and moving on, or not even ashes, because I think when you're talking about ashes in this type of terms, you might as well be going on about those who have really tried and failed horribly bad. And I don't think if you have just started to work with such things, you will out of nowhere have the capacity of saying that, you know, um, you already failed the worst in all of this race of attempts that is life itself. But I don't know. Going back to it, yeah, I think we can try to change our focus from simply giving to those who don't really need it to provide for those who are truly in a desperate position, one in which even asking for help is not a possibility. But I don't know. This is also just another idea that I had in my mind, floating around, that I wanted to let let out, let's say, in a very short manner. So yeah, um, we can let those things go, because I think we are more than sufficiently enough at at the least right now, um, ready to go into what is the main category of today, obviously, um, reading, and to start with the Mahabharata. After all, we will maybe we will have a lot of work to do here. And also, I need to do a short recapitulation of the last events that we saw and all of that. So yeah, um, there it is. Um, so we're back to this. Let me move into here, into here. Okay. Uh, there it is. So now, for real, we are back into the book. We are back into the Mahabharata. Um, after the last session that was how long ago? I think it is like almost 2 days or so, something like that. It's 2 days. What the fuck? Um, almost a week or so. That is what I wanted to say. Almost a week or so. Um, after that long ago, we now continue. In this time around, in the Canton 91, the Tirtha Yatra Parva continued, and well, I I will have to read a little bit to refresh my memory, because oh yeah, this is no, okay, this isn't that much of a long canto. I know, I know that we were dealing with a lot of cantos that had almost no no notions behind them and such, and okay. We are in the part where Yudhishthira or somebody from the Pandavas is getting recited all the different benefits that lie around the world and such. the Pandavas being the main good people, which the story so far at least focus around. So yeah, we are seeing what is going with that and such. We are trying to observe if there is any particular lesson that we can fully extract, because certainly it is hard to believe that there is anything by itself good in these type of situations. Not because there is really nothing good, but rather because it takes too much of an understanding of these words to extract those meanings hidden behind different images and such. But yeah, give me a second, and after that, we will start for real the reading of today's session. So yeah, um, as I said before, we are continuing from the Canto 91, the Tirtha Yatra Parva continuing, and it goes like this. But Sampayana continued, O son of the Gurus, even as Domya speaks, Rishi Lomasa of Great Tejas arrives there, and Yudhishthira, with his followers and his Brahmanas, sits around the most righteous sage, even as the celestials in heaven do around Indra. And having received him with reverence, Dharmaraja Yudhishthira inquires after the reason of his arrival and the object of his wanderings. Well pleased with his welcome, the illustrious Muni replies in sweet words which delight the Pandavas. Traveling at will, O Kaunteya, over all the realms, I came to Indra's abode and saw the Lord of the Devas there. There I saw your heroic brother, who can wield the bow with both hands, seated on the same throne with Sakra. Seeing Partha in the lofty place, I was greatly astonished. O tiger among men, Indra then said to me, Go, Lomasa, to the sons of Pandu. At his behest, as also that of the noble Arjuna, I have come swiftly here to you, wanting to see you and your younger brothers. Child, I will relate something that will please you greatly, O son of Pandu. Listen to it, O king, with Krishna and the rishis that are with you. Bharata Rishabha, Partha has got that peerless weapon from Rudra for which you sent him on his journey. That fierce Astra, the Brahmasira, which arose after the Amrita, and which Rudra once gained through stern tapasya. Arjuna now has that Astra, along with the mantras to loose and withdraw it, and the rites for expiation and revival. Yudhishthira, a man of immeasurable prowess, has also acquired Bhajaras and Dandas and other celestial weapons from Yama and Kubera and Varuna and Indra. He also has music, both vocal and instrumental, truly, and dancing and the art of the proper recitation of the Sama from Vishwabasu's son, and having thus acquired weapons and mastered the Gandharva Veda, your third brother lives happily in Devaloka. Listen now, Yudhishthira, to the message of Indra. He commanded me, you will go to the world of men, O best of Brahmanas. Tell Yudhishthira that I said, your brother Arjuna will soon return to you, having acquired the Astras and also accomplished a great deed for the Devas, which they themselves cannot accomplish. Meanwhile, devote yourself to Sannyasa along with your brothers. There is nothing superior to asceticism, and it is through sannyasa that a person achieves great results. And, O Bharadari, I well know that Kama is endowed with great ardor and energy and strength and prowess, all incapable of being baffled. Well, do I know that, skilled in fierce battle, he has no rival in war, that he is a mighty bowman, a hero who is a master of great weapons, and gaze in the best mail. Well, do I know that That lofty son of Aditya resembles Shiva's son Kartikeya himself. I also well know the awesome natural prowess of the broad-shouldered Arjuna. In battle, Kama is not even a 16th part of Brita's son. And as for the fear of Kama, which is in your heart, O Parantapa, I will dispel that when Savyasachin leaves Devaloka. As for your intention, Kshatriya, to set out on a pilgrimage to the Tirthas, Maharishi Lumasa. What the fuck? What the fuck? Eh, as for your intention, Kshatriya, to set out on a pilgrimage to the Tirthas, Maharishi Lumasa will speak to you about that. And whatever that regenerate sage says to you about the great merits of Sannyasa and the Tirthas, you must you must receive with respect and not otherwise, said the Lord Indra. Lomasa says, okay, okay. Um, so that is Canto 91, the one with which we started reading today. Okay, I think there are probably like 3 or 4 different lessons that you might try to take out from here, but the most sufficiently important one is this short passage that we can find here, and that is there is nothing superior to asceticism, and it is through sannyasa that a person achieves great results. And, oh Bharata Rishabha, I well know that Kama is endowed with great order and energy and strength and prowess, highly incapable of being baffled. So, on one hand, we have first and foremost the pretty accurate description of what supposedly, uh, the pretty accurate description of what happens when you dedicate yourself to the pursuit of asceticism. The problem is, although it seems very clear, sannyasa, okay, sannyasa is a term in which you are basically submitting yourself to almost an endless type of meditation, and in this case, almost penance also. So it does carry a little bit of interesting meanings behind it. On one hand, because on the other, it also has this whole notion that there is nothing superior to asceticism by itself. So I think the idea is something like when you can dedicate yourself, in this case, it is obvious that it is supposedly only talking about ascetic commitment and such, but I believe that it isn't only talking. Okay, I believe that what it is being mentioned here is not only meditation, but rather the act of entering trance, because the ascetic person has a very high capacity of entering these states of flow in which you get to dictate completely which types of actions you want to take and such. So that is already an important cognition present in this story, and that is once again something sufficiently interesting so far. On one hand, because on the other, yeah, I think it is pretty obvious that the second part does talk about a good example about what happens when you reach such levels of supposedly enlightenment instead of just out of nowhere having a good time and being free of every prejudice or whatever. It is simply the result of trying your best and the result of, in this case, doing what you can to sustain your situation, that you can realize that all of these things are probably talking about the, yeah, I think I said it before, the benefits that you find when you enter such states of mental um, fortitude or resilience. I don't know how to describe them. Basically, once again, the flow and such. So yeah, I think that is the first lesson that we can find here. That is the. I think the easiest one to extract. After all, it is pretty well expressed there. But yeah, there is only something that I don't know, and that is if they are really, really going to go after the Tirtas and such. And yeah, I don't get to know that yet. But we will see what happens, I guess. And because of that same reason, we have to continue. So, Canto 92. Tirta Yatra Parva continuum. Lumasa continues. Listen now, O Yudhishthira, to what Dhananjaya said. Cause my brother Yudhishthira to attend. Cause my brother Yudhishthira to attend to the practice of Dharma, which leads to prosperity. Blessed with the wealth of asceticism, you are conversant with the highest Dharma, with ascetic austerities of every kind, with the eternal duties of kings blessed with prosperity, and the high and sanctifying merit that men obtain from the Tirthas. Persuade my brothers, the sons of Bandu, acquire the punya attaching to the Tirthas. With all your soul, persuade the king to visit the Tirthas and to give away kind. This is what Arjuna said to me. Indeed, he also said, protected by you, let Yudhishthira visit all the Tirthas. You must also protect him from Rakshasas. Watch over him in inaccessible regions and upon rugged mountain breasts. And as Dadhichi protected Indra and Angiras protected the sun, so must you, O Vikotama, protect the sons of Kunti from demons. Along the way are many Rakshasas, big as mountain cliffs, but with your protection, these will not be able to approach the sons of Kunti. Obeying the command of Indra and the request of Arjuna, and also safeguarding you from all danger, I will come with you on pilgrimage. I have visited Tirthas twice before, O Guru, and with you I will go to them a third time. O Yudhishthira, Manu and other Rajarishis of great deeds journeyed to the Tirthas. Indeed, a Tirtha Yatra can dispel all fear. They that are corrupt-minded, who do not have their minds under control, who are ignorant and perverse, do not, O Gaurabia, bathe in tirthas, but you are ever virtuous and conversant with Dharma, and firm in keeping your promises. You will certainly free yourself from samsara, for, O Pandava, you are even like King Bigarata, or Gaia, or Yayati, or anyone, O son of Kunti, that is like them. Yudhishthira replies, I am so overwhelmed with delight, O Brahmana, that I cannot find words to answer you. Who can be more fortunate than he who is remembered even by the Lord of the Devas? Who can be more fortunate than he who has been favored with your company? Who has Dhananjaya for a brother, and who is thought of by Vasava himself? As for what you say, illustrious one, about the Tirtha Yatra, my mind has already been made up at what Dombia said to me. O Brahmana, I will set out at whatever hour you may be pleased to appoint on the pilgrimage. This is my firm resolve. Lomasa then says to Yudhishthira, who has made up his mind to go on the Yatra. O mighty king, be riding your retinue, for so you will travel more easily. Yudhishthira then says, Let those mendicants and brahmanas and yogis that cannot bear hunger and thirst, the fatigues of travel and toil, and the severity of winter, desist from coming with us. Let those brahmanas also not come that live on sweet meats, and they also that desire cooked food that is sacked or drunk, as well as meats. And let those that also remain behind that are dependent on cooks. Let those citizens that have followed me from loyalty, and whom I have hitherto supported, go back to King Daharatirashtra. He will give them succor and allowances. If, however, that king refuses to grant them proper allowances, the king of the Panchalas will, for my satisfaction and welfare, surely maintain them. And now, though stricken with grief, the citizens and the principal Brahmanas and Yatis set out for Hastinapura, and out of affection for Dharmaraja Yudhishthira, the royal son of Ambika receives them properly and gratifies them with proper allowances, and the royal son of Kanti, which only a small band of Brahmanas, stays for 3 nights at Kambiaka, consoled by Lomasa. Okay, that is Canto 92 if I'm not wrong, yeah. The Tirthayatra Parva continue. That is, once again, Canto 92. But I know there is something that I am missing so far. Let me try to find it. Uh, okay, yeah, yeah. The reality is, it is pretty much early. The start. No, wait, what is it? I know that it was mentioned. Yeah, I thought it was over here. But I answer if I married that man. No. Practice, no. Listen, no. Persuade, no. I think, okay, the closest thing that I have so far is this one, and that is about the different knowledges and lessons that you can find over here. In in this case, we are talking about Mahabharata and such, so it is pretty understandable that we're going to be talking about punya as in the highest form of knowledge that you can obtain in this world, supposedly, no, and the most blissful one. So, certainly, we're not dealing with just any random type of benefits that you might get, but rather one of the most good things to have in your hands. In this case, the enjoyment of knowing that you are driving yourselves properly in this world, I feel like. So, by itself, yeah, there is this whole notion, I feel, that talks about how much knowledge there is hidden, in this case, around the Tirthas. So it does talk for a brief moment, at the very least, about why it is necessary almost for anybody to try their best when it comes to being part of something. In, I feel like it is talking about something bigger, but I don't get to fully define what it might be about so far. But yeah, yeah, that is Canto 92 anyways. Continuing from Terra. Canto 93. Tirthayatra Parva continue. Like Sampayana said, the Brahmanas who have been living with him in the forest see the son of Kunti about to set out on his Tirthayatra, approach him, O king, and say, "You're about to set out on your journey to the sacred Tirthas, along with your brothers and the Rishi Lomasa. O king, O son of Pandu, take us with you, for without you we will never be able to visit them at any time. Surrounded by dangers and difficult of access, they are infested by beasts of prey. Those Tirthas, a whole lot of men, are inaccessible to small bands of men, greatest among bowmen. Your brothers are always valiant, and with your protection, we also wish to visit the secret places. Help us also, O Lord of the Earth, to acquire the punya of the Tirthas. Protected by your valor, let let us as well be cleansed of all our sins by visiting the sacred forts and bathing in their waters. Bathing in the Tirthas, O Mahabharata, you will certainly gain the realms so difficult of acquisition, which only Kartavirya and Astaka, the Raharishi Lumapada, and the imperial and heroic Bharata earn for themselves. Rahan, we want to behold Prabhasa and the other Tirthas, Mahendra and the other mountains, Ganga and the other rivers, and Blaksha and the other giant trees. If, O Lord of Men, have any regard for Brahmanas, do our bidding. You will surely gain prosperity from this. Mahabaho, Tirthas swarm with Rakshasas that ever obstruct ascetic penances. It falls to you to protect us from them. Watch over Bailomasa and taking us with you. Go to all the theaters of which Domya and the wise Narada spoke, as also to all those of which the celestial Lomasa, blessed with a great ascetic wealth, told, and by this be cleansed of all your sins. Thus others respectfully bade them, the king, that bull amongst the sons of Pandu, surrounded by his heroic brothers led by Bhima, with tears of joy in his eyes, says to all those ascetics, let it be so. So, at Lomada's behest and Daumia's urging, the best of the Pandavas, his soul perfectly restrained, resolves to set out, along with his brothers, and Draupadi of faultless features. Just then, the blessed Vyasa, as also Parvata and Narada, all of lofty wisdom, come to Gangyaka to meet the son of Pandu. Seeing them, Yudhishthira worships them with proper rites. Thus, worshipped by the king, those blessed ones say, O Yudhishthira, O Bhima, and you twins, banish all evil thoughts from your minds, purify your hearts, and then set out for the Tirthas. The Brahmanas have said that the observance of regulations for the body are called earthly vows, while efforts to purify the heart so that it might be free from evil thoughts are called spiritual vows. O king, the mind that is free from all evil thoughts is most pure, purifying yourself, therefore, harboring an only friendly feelings for all, go and see the Tirthas, observing earthly vows with your bodies and purifying your minds through spiritual vows, obtain all the fruits, as told to you, of pilgrimage. Saying, so be it, the Pandavas with Krishna have those celestial and human races perform the customary propitiatory rituals, and having worshipped the feet of Lomasa and Dvaipayana and Narada and the divine Rishi Parvata, and accompanied by Daumya, as also the ascetics that had been living with them in the forest, the Pandavas set out on the day following the full moon of Agrahayana, in which the constellation Pushya is ascending. Dressing bark and heights, and with matted locks on their heads, they are all gazing impenetrable wall and armed with swords. And Auhanamihaya, the heroic sons of Pandu, with quivers and arrows and swords and other weapons, have accompanied by Indrasena and other attendants, with 14 and 1 chariots, a number of cooks and servants of other classes, set out with their faces turned towards the east. If we had to be real, I feel like the lesson here lies mostly behind what was mentioned before. That is, yeah, I think not one on singular thing is worth mentioning, not because it lacks the proper body for it, but rather because there are other lessons and other parts to this idea, good for you or minimally beneficial for you to try and to take on. As in, I believe that probably we can have a good starting point by observing that certainly the rest of the Brahmans wanted to share the opportunity of going to the Tirthas, so certainly that is already something weird noticing, because supposedly they are so good for everyone that everyone should try to always go to them. And I don't know if it is this whole ritual something that can be repeated as many times as one once, or how does it really work? But it is good to see at the very least that there are mentions of things pretty much well known as problems or rituals or such. So yeah, I don't know, I don't know. Continuing from Canto 93 to Canto 94. That was all that I could say that one time. Now, to Tirtha Yatra Parva continued. Yudhishthira says, O best of the Varishis, I do not think that I am without merit, yet I am inflicted with so much sorrow that there never was a king like me. I think, however, that my enemies have no good in them, nor even nor even any dharma. Then why, O Lomasa, do they prosper in this world? Lomasa says, do not grieve, O son of Pritha, that sinful men often do prosper as a consequence of the sins they commit. A man may be seen to prosper by his sins, obtain goods therefrom, and vanquish his enemies. However, destruction overtakes him to his very roots. O king, I have seen many Daityas and Danavas prosper through sin, but I have also seen doom overtake them. O exalted one, I have seen all this in the Krita Yuga. The Devas practice Dharma, while the Asuras abandon it. The gods visited the Tirthas, while the demons did not. And at first the sinful Asuras were possessed by pride. Pride begot vanity, and vanity begot wrath. And from wrath there arose every kind of evil propensity, and from this sprang shamelessness. And in consequence of shamelessness, good conduct disappeared from amongst them. And because they had become shameless and devoid of virtue, and good conduct and virtues for others, forgiveness and prosperity and morality forsook them no time. And then, O king, prosperity sought the Devas, while adversity found the Asuras. And when the Daityas and the Danavas, deprived of good sense by pride, were possessed by adversity, Kali also sought to possess them, and overwhelm my pride, and destitute of rites and sacrifices, and devoid of reasons and feeling, and their hearts full of vanity, destruction soon overtook them. Covered with infamy, the ideas were quickly exterminated. However, the Devas, who were virtuous in their practices, going to the seas, the rivers, the lakes, and the holy spots, cleanse themselves all of sin. Sons of Pandu, through ascetic penances and sacrifices and gifts and blessings, and found prosperity, and eh, and because the gods always perform sacrifices and holy deeds, abandoning every practice that was evil, and visited the Tirthas, they acquired great good fortune. Be guided by this, O king, and you also, with your brothers, bathe in the Tirthas, for then you will regain prosperity once more. This is the eternal road. Asking Riga and Sibi and Ausinara and Bagirata and Vasumanas and Gaia and Puru and Puraravas performed tapasya and visiting the Tirthas, touched sacred waters and saw illustrious rishis, gained fame and sanctity and merit and wealth. So will you find fortune that is great, and as Ixbaku with his sons, friends and followers, as Muchukunda and Mandhatri and King Maruta, as the Devas, through the power of asceticism and the Devarishis also, all gained fame. So will you also find great celebrity. The son of Taharatirastra, on the other hand, enslaved by sin and ignorance, will, without doubt, soon be destroyed like the Daitias. Understandable, understandable. I think, okay, I think there is a very clear message here. Not on the final part, although I don't feel like that is part of what we can try to extract here. Let's say, can see it as something minimally of a lesson, kind of here, because after all, it is true that it it does play a role on what we're observing and such. So it isn't like we don't get to understand what this is for or why is this being in any way mentioned. But the reality is, besides that, everything else kind of, I feel like, has a bigger importance. Once again, I think it needs to be clarified enough. It can be more important than what we are just seeing, but you really don't get to experience such benefits if by yourself you're not paying so much attention to the lessons themselves. So yeah, I don't know, I don't know. I think um, today, so far, we have done a good job reading this, but also have noticed a certain problem, and that is I am I am incredibly tired. I have not noticed this before. So yeah, I will have to excuse myself today, but I guess we're going to cut it off very shortly, very briefly. After all, yes, I was not at all expecting to almost fall asleep when trying to read, compared to other occasions. I guess it is kind of a consequence of my own actions. Once again, coming back to me. But yeah, we did like three cantos, I think. Literally nothing at all. But yeah, I can't keep going. Sadly, I am I am losing sight of the things that I'm reading, and I can't, in under any circumstance, force this to be the quality which we are intending to have. So yeah. Anyways, besides that, as always, thanks for being here, thanks for watching, thanks for lurking, and well, we might as well get to be more prepared. Tomorrow, probably. I don't really know if it will happen or not tomorrow so far, but we will see. Until then, at the very least, thanks for being here, thanks for watching, thanks for lurking, and well, have a nice one. Now, we will retire because we have noticed that there is something we have kind of lacked in this occasion, and that is proper rest. So, yeah, take care of yourself. Until next one, and even if it doesn't happen that we get to be back here, know that this was a very pleasurable experience, and I hope you can keep having them by yourself. Now, once again, goodbye, and thanks for everything. Bye, 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 bye.